I want to talk about one of the hardest chapters of my life, one that has shaped so much of who I am today and how I show up in the world, not just as a mom, but as a woman, a healer, and someone determined to expose the truth. This is the story of my custody case. I left my marriage when my children were just 3 and 1. The breaking point? My ex-husband physically assaulted me because I tried to throw away his alcohol. At that moment, I wasn't leaving because I stopped loving him. I was leaving because I wanted him to get help. But he didn't see it that way. He saw it as betrayal. From that moment forward, everything became about revenge. Revenge for leaving him, revenge for not letting him control me anymore, and let's be honest, revenge for not wanting to pay child support. From the divorce in 2010 and 11, all the way through the post-decree case that dragged on from 2019 to 2022, my ex-husband has used the court system as his personal playground of control. And the narrative? Always the same. That I'm mentally unstable, that somehow I can't be trusted with my own children. At one point, he even filed a motion saying I needed supervised visitation. Supervised. Me. The mother who has never stopped showing up for her kids, who has fought tooth and nail to keep them safe and loved. And in this system, the overworked, addicted, older male lawyers who make up the good old boys club, they protected my ex-husband. They protected one of their own. Meanwhile, my children and I were emotionally tortured for years. The scars of that don't just go away. When the court awarded my ex-husband full custody, he celebrated. But he also told the kids that nothing would change. They could still see me whenever they wanted. He just wanted it on the record. That's the part that mattered to him. What his peers and other people would think. Not what his kids would feel. That's just who he is. But here's the irony. He wasn't prepared for what came after. See, with custody comes responsibility. So when school started, my ex-husband found himself in a bind. He lived in a different city, in a different school district than the kids had ever attended. So his solution? Well, as a lawyer, he drafted his own fake legal document saying that he was the primary parent but would use my address for school purposes. The kicker? He had a school board official who just so happened to be the wife of a guy who used to coach youth sports with my ex-husband. She signed off on it. Nepotism at its finest. But I wasn't the naive Kelly he used to control anymore, and I refused to sign it. I talked to lawyer after lawyer, and every single one confirmed it was illegal. And if the school found out, the kid could get kicked out. So I held my ground. Meanwhile, school was starting, and my ex-husband didn't enroll the kids in the district. Neither his or ours. Instead, he poured all of his energy into trying to break me down. Pressuring me, pressuring my lawyer, having his lawyer pressure my lawyer, even pressuring the kids. He went so far as to bring in a truancy officer to intimidate them. But the officer? He actually listened. He told the kids, try online school. So I found one. That whole school year, my ex-husband did nothing. He rarely talked to the kids, no support, no real involvement. And by that summer, the situation hadn't changed. So when August came around again, my ex-husband was cornered again. He didn't want to leave his home with his girlfriend, who barely speaks to the kids, so he bought a second house, right here in the district the kids had always been a part of. But instead of creating stability, what he created was chaos. He bounced between 2 houses, living a double life. The kids mostly stayed alone. And this is the man the court declared the fit parent. Throughout this process, I discovered how my ex-husband and my mother colluded to gain control of my grandparents' inheritance. They manipulated my grandmother, my mother took her to court to gain guardianship, and they tricked her under the pretense that her house was being remodeled and that she would only need to stay in an independent living apartment for a few days, when in reality, they kept her there. Meanwhile, they put my grandfather in a VA home, and my grandparents were cut off from each other with no phone contact. My mother even paid my ex-husband to shield herself under the attorney-client confidentiality. But, despite their attempts to cover it up, the truth revealed itself through my dreams, visions, messages, and even from what my ex-husband admitted in court. Here's where my healing journey comes into play. In the midst of these court battles, I stumbled into trauma-informed yoga. And with each layer of healing, my awareness grew. And I began to see that this custody case wasn't just about custody. It was really never about custody. It was about exposure. My ex-husband, in his arrogance, confessed more than he realized about his own behavior, his family, even white-collar crimes and corruption tied to his prosecutor brother. The very system that once silenced me began to unravel in front of me. Well, the day I found out I lost custody was one of the worst days of my life. I won't sugarcoat it. It broke me. But what I've done since, that's where my power lies. I've used this time to strengthen the bond with my children and heal myself. We are closer now than we've ever been. This is not a story with a neat little bow on it. This is an evolving story, one with many layers, twists, and truths still to come out. And this episode? It's just the beginning. In the coming episodes, I'll share more about the court corruption, about the hidden crimes I uncovered, and about how trauma healing through yoga, therapy, and sheer resilience gave me the courage to not only survive, but to rise. Because while my ex thought he won by taking custody, what he didn't understand was this. He may have won on paper, but I'm winning in life. This is an ongoing pursuit for justice, not just for me, not just for my kids, but for who everyone has been silenced by a system that protects abusers over survivors. This story is just getting started.